Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be extremely long. I'm going to take my time with it and I'm going to explain things the best way that I can at this moment. Obviously, 2 years, 5 years in the future, I'm going to be using different terms, different messages, speaking to a different audience with a different level of consciousness and a different level of understanding. But for now, this is my level of consciousness. These are the terms that I use to describe things. However limited they may be, this is the best that I can do right now. And I'm going to talk about what's happening in the free chat forum, kind of just an overview of everything that I see happening there. So, I'm going to start off with a comment from Joe V. He says, the lower astral needs a tidy up. Okay. So the first thing I think of when I read this comment, the lower astral needs a tidy up. Yeah, it needs a tidy up. It's the lower astral. I don't know exactly what he means by this comment because it seems just it's a simple short statement. It doesn't have a lot of context to it. Um, but yeah, the lower astral needs a tidy up. It's the lower astral. It's gonna stay the lower astral, most likely, and it's always gonna need a tidy up. So I responded. He also says, you clean the lower astral by educating people with empathy and making sure their basic needs are met. Otherwise, they will quickly go into resentment mode and switch towards the dwelling entities offering retribution. And Monica says, all the information that has been shared is intended to help each of us educate ourselves and cleanse our subconscious of shadows. That was a great response. So I said, it's not recommended to travel to the lower astral at this moment of time. The turbulence and a war has broken out in the middle astral right now. That's where the starseed needs to focus their attention and bring back to peace. We had a good handle on it for the last few days, but something shifted last night and we need to get a handle on it again. Okay, so the reason that I said this statement was because I spend a lot of time lucid in the astral and I monitor the surface of the earth in the astral because in the astral there is a mirror realm of ideas and frequencies and locations and everything to earth. So, you can go into the astral and go, to Greece, and there's going to be Greek stuff there in the astral. It's not going to be exactly like Earth, but it's there on the surface of the Earth. So there is a surface on the Earth in the astral. And that's what I call the middle astral because there's the sky above it and then there's the ground below it. Okay? So it's in the middle. That's why I call it the middle. Okay? This is where I see that star seeds are stuck in their ideas. Yes, they travel to the higher astral. Yes, they travel to the lower astral. They are in constant flux because they are the density of whatever they are perceiving. Okay? So when I'm describing things, I'm describing averages here in terms of densities. Okay? Let's move on here. Because Karthik really brings up some interesting points about this that are really making me think about some things and really making me think about changing the way that I describe things in the astral. Okay, so let's get into this further. Bear with me 1 second. There were some trolls in the chat today. Everybody look out for the trolls, that are in the chat. They come in asking to talk to Gosha, wanting to get, because they can't get to Gosha directly. They just want to waste our time, and they want to throw us off our game because we're making so much of a positive impact. So let's see where else we can go here. Karthik. Okay. Karthik brings up a very expanded point of view here that I completely agree with. He says there's no separation between the astral. That's correct. It is all one super frequencies. There is only one mass. Densities are a state of mind. Also correct. The range of frequencies you can perceive depends on your consciousness level, and also we always say that higher densities include lower ones. So if you are trying to explain astral with these separations like lower and middle ones, it wouldn't make any sense because, as I said, higher densities include the lower ones. This means the higher astral also includes the middle and lower. Okay, let's break this down for a second. If I want to describe what I call the middle astral, which is the surface of the earth, okay? So I think instead of describing the astral and splitting it into middle, upper, and lower, I will simply use, instead of middle now, I'll just simply use what's happening on the surface of the earth, okay? On the surface of the earth in the astral is where I judge what the state of our progression in the game is at. If whatever I see happening on the surface of the earth in the astral, okay, whatever I see happening there, if there are wars going on, if there are dark clouds and sandstorms and battles and all sorts of stuff, then in my opinion, the surface of the earth is a gauge. It tells me that we're not doing enough to raise the frequency. We're not winning the game. We're not progressing the game. We're losing ground in our consciousness and in our ideas. We're not high enough in frequency. So the starseeds are not in a high enough frequency, in my opinion, if I see wars and stuff breaking out on the surface of the earth in the astral. Okay? I'm really trying not to use this middle astral term. It's just so much shorter and sweeter. So, when I'm able to fly off of the surface of the earth in the astral, and I'm able to explore space, or I'm able to fly high up, then I'm in a high frequency area. Okay? Now, in the astral, just like on Earth, just like in space, we're still influenced by the collective. So it's not just about my personal frequency. I'm still being influenced by the collective frequencies. Okay? So let's go deeper into this. Yes, the higher astral includes the middle and the lower. Yes. So the astral realm is all one mass, but it's constantly fluctuating with every point of attention that's rising and falling, or every collective group points of attention are rising and falling constantly. Now, if some lower entity egregors, some very low frequency consciousnesses, open up portals to lower the frequency of the astral, then that could result in battles and wars on the surface of the earth in the astral. I hope this is making sense to people. Okay. He's saying the point is that you can't divide the astral like that into middle, upper, and lower. And I'm starting to actually see his point here. And that's why I'm really grateful to Karthik for pointing this out. Because it's like iron sharpens iron. It only makes me think about things in a more in-depth way where I can, not be so limited, I guess, in expressing what I'm trying to express. Okay, you can't divide the astral like that. We covered that. There's only one whole or one mass of pure consciousness. Yeah, that's in constant flux, but how do we... Yes, exactly, there is. But how do we describe that? We're on Earth with these human minds. So the question is, how do we describe it? That's going to be the most efficient and the most effective way to describe the experiences that we're having. Ether, there is only the astral. What we call physical is only physical from our point of view. Correct. We call it that way because there are certain physical rules that we are incarnated into these rules. Correct. So it's like, if you see a bird flying across the sky, you're not going to say, oh, there's a super frequencies constantly fluctuating and flapping its perceived wings in the sky and moving from one point of non-locality to another point of non-locality. You're going to say there's a bird flying in the sky because that's what you see. Do you see what I'm saying here? It's like, how expanded do you want to be in your explanation of the things that you see in your experience? I think I'm really hitting on something here. Okay. There are only strong agreements fixed deep within your unconscious. And if you raise in your consciousness level, you will raise in frequency. You can reprogram from those deep unconscious belief agreements. You can transcend those rules. If you look at the so-called low astral beings, entities, for example, those flying parasitic jellyfish-like creatures, they are only low astral from our point of view. From theirs, they are also physical beings with their own rules. Correct. The lower you get in frequency in the astral, the more physical things become. That's a great point. There's also physicality in higher densities too. So it is point of view. Simply because we're not going to see them there. We don't have the necessary data to perceive them. Okay, let's read that again. They are also physical beings with their own rules. We call them low astral simply because we cannot directly perceive them. They are in another frequency. We don't have the necessary data to perceive them. So they not in our density. The range of frequencies you can perceive depends on your consciousness level. The higher it is, the higher your frequency, the higher the density. Yeah, exactly. and you can hold multiple points of attention in multiple densities at the same time. So, depending on how expanded your consciousness is, you are able to perceive things in the astral. I'm only able to perceive things in the astral because of my range of frequencies that I can perceive. Okay? I can travel in the astral for hours and hours on end, travel from low densities to high densities. I can go up to higher densities sometimes and play games with Yazi and Mari, okay, in the higher densities, or I could meet Yazi could come into a lower density and she could meet me there, you know. So yeah, there that's a great point. And so I agree with everything that Karthik said in this statement. So thank you, Karthik, for that. So let's move on. My my comment to what he had just said is, you are correct. I am well aware of how the astral works, but for the sake of explaining things, I use these terms: densities, Ds, whatever. Okay? So that was my response to him. And then, okay, I think I'm going to end the video here and do a part 2. There's a lot going on the free chat forum that I want to talk about today. So it looks like this is what I'm going to be spending my day doing. Thank you, Karthik. And I will see you in the next video.